You realize that each vibrator has a different, like almost like buzzy sensation? Like
Yep.
some of them are like bees, and then other ones are like
Yeah.
deep and thrummy. And do you
Right.
have a favorite? Do you like the bees or the thrummy?
Ooh. Depends on the day.
Okay.
Honestly, that's where I think some of that sensitivity stuff is cool. Of like, I'm able to notice when I'm like, I could use like a really high buzzy vibe today. And then others,
Yeah.
I'm like, I need something like deep and guttural, right? Like, so it
Yeah.
just depends on my mood.
Hey, I'm Jen, host of the Open Bedroom podcast, where you'll find topics of sex, dating, relationships, non monogamy, and more. I'm glad you're here. Let's dive in. Rachel Dornianu is a licensed therapist, certified sex therapist, and board certified coach specializing in anxiety, HSPs, people pleasing, perfectionism, and sex therapy. She has a passion for helping people reconnect with their bodies, reduce shame, and find freedom in their wellness journey. She holds a master's in counseling and brings over 8 years of experience working with millennial women and moms. Through her work as a therapist and coach, Rachel integrates evidence based approaches with compassionate education to normalize topics often left in the dark, like pelvic pain, pleasure, and embodiment. She is known for her relatable, down to earth style and her ability to make complex or uncomfortable topics accessible and affirming. Outside of her professional life, Rachel enjoys practicing yoga, spending time with her husband and two children, and traveling. Rachel, welcome to the podcast. So, Rachel and I today are going to be talking about sensitive is sexy, nervous system regulation for intimacy. I don't know about you guys, but I'm noticing as I get older, and I don't normally put myself in the bucket of neurospicy, but the older I get, the more I'm like, I think I am. In terms of like just what I want to wear, I'm
Yeah.
noticing as I get older that like jeans are uncomfortable, and who wants to wear that shirt with the tag that itches you all the time? And who wants to go to bed with clothes on anymore? And I'm hot. You know what I mean? Like there are things happening. And I've
Yeah.
noticed Rachel and I we had this little call a few weeks ago before we decided to record this podcast, and we were talking about this particular subject. And I was like, I don't, I'm really sensitive, and I've been actually working on that in the bedroom, and it's been a really fun skill to tune in. But now I'm like, am I neurospicy or is this normal? I don't know, but we're going to talk about all of this today. So, Rachel, take us through this subject. How is being sensitive actually sexy?
Mm.
Yeah.
So yeah, one thing I did thoroughly enjoy our call, and we were like, we should have probably recorded this whole damn thing,
Yeah.
but it's fine. We're just going to do a round two today.
Yeah.
And regarding the sensitive is sexy. So I'm a highly sensitive person. That's a HSP is the acronym. If you want to go and do a cute little Google search from Dr. Elaine Aaron. Don't quote me, but I'm 90% sure that's who coined the whole shebang. There's a whole quiz there. You can just go have fun. I can send you the link for the show notes. Big fan.
Yeah.
But to give you a quick rundown of the sensitive vibes, is that it affects men and women equally, and it's about 20% of the world that it affects, which is a decent amount of people. So that's kind of cool. But then the other 80% is the non-neurospicy, non-sensitive individuals, which tends to be the quote unquote norm, if you will. Past that, but there's a really lovely acronym called DOES, DOES. And so with that acronym, it's the depth of processing. So like we just feel things really intensely. Which to me, that sounds like sexy fun times to me. You feel all the things all the time. All right, cool. Sign me up. The O of does is overstimulation. So you need to be mindful that you're not going to be overstimulated too quickly. There's also people that are like a subgroup of this like HSP realm, which are words are hard. Come on, brain. Stimulation seekers of where they're
Hmm.
understimulated. They're like, no, 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 I need more. Therefore, roller coasters and cliff jumping. And I'm like, not me, but love that for them. The E is empathy. So you're really feeling and understanding someone's stuff. It's not just sympathy of like, oh, they're there, that sucks. It's I am feeling your pain across the room because you are like emanating it. And then the S, come on, brain, what is the S? I'm gonna let's get our handy
I'm
friend
like,
chat.
tell me it's sex.
What does acronym for HSP? Let's figure out what it is real quick. Do, 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 do. Well, it'd be cute if it did in order. All right, it's fine. So, depth of processing, we talked about.
Mhm.
Overstimulation, we talked about. Empathy, we talked about. So, strong emotional responses,
Mm,
sensitive stimuli. Let me see if there's anything else that sticks out to my brain. Those are the main bits, but you basically are just feeling all the things all the time.
yeah.
And it's being able to, in a sexy way, that's amazing for the bedroom. It's being able to enjoy like the smallest little touch, and you're like, oh, yes,
Mhm.
please. Right? So you're feeling all of that. Orgasms tend to be really quite lovely. And the one thing to think about though is in terms of that cute little acronym, if I ever figure out what that S is, I will let you know. But with that, sometimes certain toys, intimate products, sex toys, if you will, the vibration might be too intense. So you might need like lowest level humanly possible compared to some people that are not HSP,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right? Like I need the lowest level humanly possible. Please don't give me
Yes. And have you
the
realized that each vibrator has a different, like almost like buzzy sensation? Like
yep,
some of them are like bees, and then other ones are
yeah,
like deep and thrummy. And do you
right.
have a favorite? Do you like the bees or the thrummy?
Ooh, depends on the day.
Okay.
Honestly, that's where I think some of that sensitivity stuff is cool. Of like, I'm able to notice when I'm like, I could use like a really high buzzy vibe today. And then others, I'm
Yeah.
like, I need something like deep and guttural, right? Like, so it
Yeah.
just depends on my mood. Um, yeah, that's a tough one. But I don't
He-
like the ones that have a lot of different sensations at the same time, because then I get overstimulated.
Does
I don't
anyone
need
like those where it's like
some do. They, yeah.
they like that? Okay, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
some, I don't know who. Some people do. Love that for them. They need maybe like the neurospicy people that get bored easily. They don't want just the zzz. They want the deep, 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 deep.
Oh,
That would make
okay.
sense of like the novelty, seeking something different. I saw there was one toy somewhere. I don't know where it was. If I figure it out again, I'll let you know. But it had like nine different motors in the same toy. I was like, good God, where's it going?
It reminds me of the rabbit. Do you remember the rabbit when we were in
Yes,
our 20s and it was like
yes,
pearls that rotated and then the clit bunny thing and then the thing that went inside you and then
right.
it was like twisting and turning and vibrating and it was like
That
so
sounds like a lot.
so
That
much.
that wasn't made for us.
Who was it made for? What were we doing? What was
I
happening
don't.
back then?
They were so excited for all the things that they threw it all into one toy just to see what happens. Oh, that's funny.
So this is where so I've had another I had Dr. Allison
Mhm.
Ash on a few weeks ago and she came and talked to us about neurospicy and how that shows up in your relationship and how it shows up in the bedroom and she is not and her husband is and so they gave some really great examples of like what this looks like in real life. And when I
Yeah.
sit here and have a conversation with her and I sit here and have a conversation with you and I know the listeners are doing this so I'm just going to go ahead and call it out is I'm
Please.
like is this me? Like, how do you
Mhm.
know if you're HSP or not? I mean, I'm sitting here like, yep, every single one of these is me. And
Yeah.
so if you're saying that and you're listening, I think that for me, the flip, I always go to the flip and I'm like, then how do normal people do this? If they're
Mhm.
not having depth of processing, they're not getting overstimulated, which I feel like the whole world is overstimulated right now.
Yeah.
They don't have this immediate sense of empathy and then this strong emotional response to things. How does
Mhm.
a normal person show up in the world? Are they like just
They're
chill?
more even keeled, chill, down to earth. I think of like, if it helps to think of it this way, that there's type A and type B
Uh-huh.
kind of people in the world. they're more type B, and all of the type A people are the stress the fuck out, highly sensitive people.
Oh.
That's kind of how I differentiated in my brain. Because even when I work with clients, right? So I'm a sex therapist and I'm a coach and I do all the things. I wear many hats.
Yeah.
But when I work with a type B person, I'm like, oh, I'm calmer. I'm not stressed out. But when I'm with a type A, I'm like, we're both like really intense and like hyper aroused. And so it just, I'm able to pick up on that energy real quick. But
So
it,
that's normal. Okay. Like
Mhm.
one of the things you and I talked about on the phone, which I want to bring into this conversation,
Please.
is like that sensitivity that you're talking about in the bedroom, that ability to have someone like caress their t fingertips down your body and you can like have an orgasm. I thought
Yes.
that was like a superpower of mine, but apparently it's an HSP thing. But
Yeah.
I have definitely had sex with people where it's the opposite. Like you have to
Mhm.
be like ramming them or hurting them, or it has to be
Mhm.
super fast, or it has to be super hard in order for them to ever get off or to feel anything. And I guess
Mhm.
I just thought that what I had going on was super normal. And so I've been trying to like help train our girlfriends because they're like, I want that. I want to feel everything. Like I want to feel the spectrum of things, but I can only feel
Yeah.
this really high intensity. And I guess I always
Right.
thought that was like maybe trauma related or just you've never experienced slow and delicious before. So I'm throwing
It's
this
a
back at you as
possibility.
the sex expert.
Yeah, no, that's a lovely example. So the things that I think about, yeah, it could be many factors. That it could be a trauma thing. It could be sometimes people that I've worked with have become desensitized to the slow because they're used to being go, go, go Energizer bunnies in more ways than one.
Mm.
That they are just like, I can't focus and be present and enjoy unless I'm being rammed into the headboard. That that makes sense. And this, especially in terms of like a neurospicy thing of like, I need to be physically rocked back to be present compared to highly sensitive people of where you're like, I don't want to be rammed. I have to be in a very special mood to want that.
Yeah.
Um, which
And
is
I am going
cool.
to audibly tell you and demand it. But
Yes,
outside of that, do not do
exactly.
that to me.
Right. Like, no, no, don't touch me there, except for on this date. Right. Like, it's going to be different for everybody. But I think a way to maybe play with that at some point, I am not one of your girlfriend's therapists. To clarify and disclaimer for everybody listening, I am not the therapist. But the things I would think about is how to become more sensitive. So whatever those things are is just to have like a lot of mindfulness and breathing and meditation. And for some of you, that sounds really woo woo. Sorry, not sorry. But if you don't know your nervous system, if you don't know where you're operating most of the day, what kind of patterns you are, like maybe you're hyper arousal in the morning and really hypo arousal and crashed out at the end of the evening.
Hmm.
If you're not able to notice those things, how are you going to notice that when you're having sex?
Mm.
So making sure that you slow it down and notice what's going on. And if that helps to have almost like an exposure hierarchy, I do that with people all the time, which is so fun. Would it help if I explain what that is?
Yes. What
Okay,
is an
your eyes got like really big.
exposure
So
hierarchy?
yeah, so it's from the exposure and response prevention uh, side of the therapy world. It's the gold standard for OCD. So you're building up exposures to the things that you're not tickled about. So I would rather it be more of like a fun exposure than a stressy exposure.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have some clients that have OCD tendencies. I wouldn't stamp them with OCD per se, but it'll be exposures for heights, for germs, for whatever. And you slowly work your way up on like a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being if I do this thing, I may shit my pants out of anxiety. One being I'm a little uncomfortable, but I got this. And you
Okay.
slowly work your way up that ladder to being able to sit out and ride the wave of anxiety and uncomfortable feelings that come with it. Because typically, normal quote unquote emotions last around 20 minutes or so. If you can ride that wave or ride the urge, you got it. So you're slowly building, right? So you're slowly building up your tolerance to these exposures. And so it can be in session, out of session. all in your mind,
Mm-hmm.
having certain recordings play. So that's on the therapy side of it, which
Mm-hmm.
is so cool. Anybody that does ERP, exposure and response prevention, they're a little bit of a sadist, I think, but it's really fun to
They're
talk to
like,
those people.
again, we're doing it
Yeah, more,
again.
more pain.
Like, I'm
So,
cured.
so I
More
think
pain.
things I've started playing with in terms of the sex therapy clients, sex coaching, all of that is building exposures to things that are, if anything, it could be catered to your one of your girlfriends that it's like if we're used to it being a 10
Mm-hmm.
of being rammed into the headboard, what's a 9?
Mm-hmm.
How do we figure out a way to be a little bit less intense but still feel some of those moments? Or do you need to start at a 1 where you're like, I'm going to find a way to just hone in and calm myself and notice what pressure it felt like to have someone go on the fingertips of my hand.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a light pressure? How would I describe it? And so that can be kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's also I get very excited talking about this.
Yeah, it's very fun.
That if you've ever done the mindful exercise of having like a Hershey's Kiss or a piece of chocolate melt in your mouth, have you ever
Mm-hmm.
done that before?
Oh, it's so fun. Or like an
So
M&M.
fun.
That takes a long
Yeah.
time though. Yeah.
It's so fun. And so you're pausing and thinking, okay, what of
Mm-hmm.
my senses am I noticing? What does it smell like? What's it taste like? What's it feel like against my lips versus my tongue? What happens when I crunch on it? What happens when I let it melt and I smear it on my chin? What does that feel like? Just to notice those little bits. And
Yeah.
so if you can do that experience, then I
Okay.
would think she's going to become more sensitized to those light touches that might be more exciting for her.
Yes. This makes me think about body mapping,
Yeah, that's
right? Like
fun too.
taking out a bunch of sensual toys and I always
Mm-hmm.
like love a good blindfold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have done this too as well on several of the people that we've dated. It usually starts with they have a high level of trauma
Mm-hmm.
in their body. And so sex is hard for them, and it's incredibly hard to get out of their mind and in their body. So they're typically, I hate to like generalize all of them because there's been quite a lot in 4.5 years of people that we've been seeing. But it's typically they're numbing out in some way, typically with weed, they're getting high
Mm-hmm.
to try to get into their body and get out of their mind. And it's really hard to make the jump from up here to down there or even in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've done some body mapping, but even that sometimes feels really, it feels like way too much. It's
Yeah,
way too overstimulating. I like it, but I'm also a shapeshifter, and so I'm like, the more the better. Give me all of it.
you're here for all of it.
I'm here for
Yeah.
all of it. But I love the Hershey's Kiss thing. Like it's all about just being mindful of even just something in your mouth that's melting and what is the sensation. And
Mm.
these are little practices. Again, I must be HSP because I'm like already doing this all the time with everything I eat. Like, you
Yes.
sit with a cup of
Mindful
coffee.
eating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is so warm in my hand. It feels so nice. I love the smell. I love the way it's
Yeah.
warm and it wisps into the air. Oh, how does it feel on my tongue? Um,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so I love this. So what Rachel is saying is if you're listening and you are that person that needs high impact, you need to be rammed or do the ramming maybe. Like you
Either one.
need intensity and you're desiring to see what it might be like to be a little bit more sensitive, then these are really good tips of slowing down. You know, you can do, I think, too, a lot of this on yourself. Like, this is
Mm-hmm.
a great thing to do solo,
Yes.
especially the sex part of figuring. Like, I had a client come to me a few years ago, and she was like, I can't have an orgasm unless the magic wand is directly on my clit for like 10 minutes and then I can finally feel
Ooh.
something. And so she was like, it's really hard when I have sex with my husband because obviously I can't just do that. And I want to
I
have
mean,
an
you could.
orgasm with him. Yeah, she could, but she was like, I want to actually feel what he's doing to me and I want to
Yeah.
enjoy when he touches me. And like, none of it really does
Mm-hmm.
anything. So she realized she was so overly desensitized, I guess, that
Spot on.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we talked about some ways that she could slow down and have a solo practice and get some lube and actually
Mm-hmm.
touch herself and
Yeah.
touch all over, inside and outside, and find all those places that feel amazing and breathe and, all the
Yes,
things.
please.
Yeah. Okay. So what about the opposite? What if you're listening and you're so sensitive it's uncomfortable? Like
Mm.
every rustle of the sheets irritates the fuck out of you. Or though your partner's breath or their breathing or
Yeah.
every toy doesn't feel fun, or the lube is sticky, or I can imagine like a million things that can
Oh,
go
there's
wrong.
many things. Yes.
What do you do when you're overly sensitive and you're trying to kind of bring yourself back into balance?
Mm. I would do a few things to do a a rewind, a recap
I'm like, I
of
think the answer is just be high for everybody. No, I'm just
I
kidding. It's not a good
mm,
answer.
no, but I know many people that use that as an answer.
Hmm.
So if anything, you spoke to an audience member that needed it. So thank you. But the recap that I think about is that noticing the patterns. So let's
Hmm.
say that you are way more into sexy time in the mornings
Hmm.
and you happen to be not in hyperarousal yet, maybe that's
Okay.
a really lovely time. If you are in hyperarousal, you need to have a way to just kind of take a breather, calm your system, get back into a window of tolerance of being open, safe, curious, alert.
Okay,
Those are
hold on.
all lovely things.
Hyperarousal doesn't mean I want to fuck right now. It means
No.
your body is like
Yeah.
activated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. So because there's arousal, there's desire, right? Desire is the mental, emotional side. Arousal is the actual physical response. They ideally go together, but they don't have to. You'd be like, no, don't. But your body said yes anyway. So to clarify that for anybody that has a traumatic bit real quick, your body just responded. So there's that piece. But with the nervous system, so you can be there's something called the window of tolerance that you feel open, safe, curious, somewhat normal experiences are going on,
Okay.
whatever normal is.
Okay.
Hyper arousal, you're in maybe
Hmm.
anxiety, irritable,
Hmm.
having some trouble with things, fight or flight mode.
Okay.
If you're in hypoarousal, that's when you might feel depressed, isolated, withdrawn. Interestingly, hyperarousal and hypoarousal both have trouble with sleep and digestion. And so with the hypoarousal, it's also the freeze response.
Mm.
So the things to think about there is that if you're operating in hyperarousal, you want to have a way to gently come back down into the window without crashing. And if you're in hypo, to gently pull yourself back into the window without going into the stratosphere. So the things that could be hyperarousal is calming and deep breathing and meditation and journaling or a gentle walk, maybe. Nothing high energy, please, because you're already hyper aroused. Your body
Hmm.
doesn't need more. Please stop. If you're in hypoarousal, you want to make sure that it's as if just laying on the couch and tapping out. Although tempting after this, because I'm going to be completely crashed out after this. I love doing these things, but I'm also tired.
Same.
That with the hypoarousal, a way to gently get yourself into it, maybe some gentle stretching when you're in the bed or listening to some fun music. Like I love Bad Bunny. Turning on Bad Bunny in the kitchen and dancing around. Maybe that's your vibe to get out of
Uh-huh.
hypo into the window of tolerance again. So
Okay.
knowing all of those things is important before we even get to the bedroom.
You know
Knowing
what?
your
You know what I found might work for me?
please.
The other day, I got
Mhm.
this massage from a new lady, and she also does stretching. Like with your clothes
Mm.
on, does all these stretches and gets you like
Yeah.
really in your body, and then you get like an hour massage. And I've
Oh,
done this twice now. And the last time I went in like such high anxiety. I was stressed out about some girl that my husband was talking to, and I was stressed out about this and that and this and that and work and
yeah.
all my mind was spinning, so I was hyper, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
hyper arousal.
Uh-huh.
I went in and after like 2 hours of this, I come out and
You're like
I'm like a
mush.
noodle. And I'm like, I'm sorry for being so crazy. I need some food. Can we go eat? And so Scott met me to have dinner, have lunch or something. And I was just like, I feel so calm right now. I could just go home and take a nap. but I have to get the kid from
Ooh.
school. And he was like,
Oh,
oh, I'll go get him from school. You go home and take a nap. And I was like, what? So I
yeah.
did. And
Okay.
I was like, oh my God, I finally feel in balance. So I wonder if like touch
Wow.
or self-care might also
Hmm.
bring us back in.
Yes. Spot on. I love that you had that experience.
I know.
How
And like, I
fun.
need more of this. I need like a weekly with this lady.
Yes.
So I can
Or
just be sane.
apparently, I need to start doing that of having a bit of stretching and then a massage because I know I come in because I love a good massage,
Yeah.
but oftentimes I'm sitting there
30
just
minutes. Like,
spiraling in anxiety
yeah.
rather than actually relaxing.
Yeah.
And by the time I'm finally relaxed, it's done.
Same.
So I like that idea. So thank you for my homework.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. So
we were
maybe some
talking
touch or
about,
self-care could add to that, could help
yeah,
us get in. Okay. Balance.
absolutely. So that's a lovely segue into the things I was trying to remember was that if you need to maybe have a weighted blanket to calm your system before you have sexy time,
Ooh.
that can be lovely. I
Okay.
have a really very heavy weighted blanket, and it feels like having a bear on top of me, and it's so exciting. So that can be really nice. If you need to have the blindfold to turn off like one of your senses to not feel overstimulated by all five of your senses, maybe it's just a little bit less with the eyes. With the neurodivergent, neurospicy situation, a lot of times people will get either overstimulated and therefore lose an erection or lose the arousal piece of what's going on. Their brain gets distracted. And so the things that I think about is being able to find a way to be present. One thing that worked for one of my clients that they started to narrate to themselves, not out loud. That'd be really interesting. If like you're doing this thing and then you're doing this thing and then you're doing this thing, I would be like, shut the fuck up, right?
Yeah.
But if you narrate to yourself of like, I'm noticing that she's pulling my hair and that she ran her fingernails down my back, and that was nice, and something that helps you to stay on track, that can be
Mhm.
really helpful. Past that, having some really lovely aftercare if you're
Mhm.
overstimulated, and it's totally okay to take a pause on the sexy time of, oof, I'm hyper aroused, not in a good way. I need to, I need
Snuggle me
to,
for a
yeah,
while.
I need a naked cuddle for a minute.
Mm.
And then you can always pick up
Yes.
after that.
I love this so much. So I'm finding, again, not to make this about me, but I'm finding
No,
ways
it'll be
that I'm
fun.
actually doing this, I think, in real time. I have now
Cool.
diagnosed myself HSP, apparently. But like when we have sex, I'm very verbal. So normally I'm like moaning and I noticed that that helps me stay in my body too. It helps me stay really present with the
Yeah.
sensation. And lately I have been using some words because
Okay.
it's helping me to connect in, and I'll say like, God, I love how you move your hips like that. Or like,
Hmm.
God, you're so deep.
Right.
Or um I'm like, I don't know how X-rated I want to get, but
You go as far as you want.
things
I'm
I'm
here for it.
noticing about my own body, like that
Yeah.
might be engorged or really wet or whatever. Like I'm kind of calling it out, and I think it's turning him on. I mean, hopefully, but it's
Yeah.
helping me to, I think, make the mind-body connection of like, oh wow, like I really am turned on. It's not just sometimes I notice my mind's turned on, especially in perimenopause. I'm like, mine's really turned on, but my body is like dry, you know? Like my nipples
Mm-hmm.
are hard, but there's nothing happening down there. And like, how do I wake it up? And how do I? And so I
Yes.
think for me, at least, it's helping me when I'm verbalizing. Man, wouldn't it be interesting if men were like this? Like
When
my husband grunts and I'm like so thrilled. I'm like, I love your man noises. Give me more of them. Please talk to me.
give me something, I just need to know if it's okay.
Blink twice if it's good for you.
Oh my God, I love it. Well, I'm
I
glad you
cannot
guys
be alone in this. I'm sure that there's
no, you're
listeners like,
not.
yes.
You are not. And something that just popped in my head, and I wonder if there's research around this, is that if there's moaning and kind of stuff, you're stimulating the vagus nerve.
Hmm.
So you're calming your system because you
Oh,
don't want to
million
be
percent.
having sex when you're trying to run from a bear.
Exactly.
Or if you're playing possum, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to be sexy. You don't want it. You're not thinking about it. But if you're in that window of tolerance and you've calmed your system and the vagus nerve is activated, then you're like, because that humming stuff
Doesn't
is
it
a
feel
whole
good?
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I wonder, now I need
Yeah.
to find a researcher and see if that's a thing. What happens if you moan in bed? Are you activating your vagus nerve? I'm curious now.
I bet so. I bet so. And
It
like,
makes sense to me.
I have a really hard time. I don't even know if I can. don't even know if it's scientifically possible for me to
Mm.
orgasm without there being noise. I just don't think it is.
Ah,
But I know lots of people do it. I'm sure I could make myself if I had to,
complete silence. You could.
like next to the mother-in-law or something, and it just, you had to be super
Oh, you
quiet.
had to be super
But it's
quiet.
not fun for me. I'm like, I want to feel like I can be expressive and like
Yeah.
open all my chakras up and like let it out
Yes.
all the ways.
You're expressive. That's part of that shapeshifter stuff, right? You're just
I think
like, I need
so.
everyone in the world to know I'm having a fantastic time.
Well, but again, it helps me stay in my body.
Yeah.
If I'm
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
quiet, then I'm listening to every single noise and I'm like, what's happening? And like, is he having fun? And what's that noise what's happening? So instead, it's
Hmm.
like making me stay connected from my mind down into my genitals.
I love that.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's a thing, maybe it's not, but it
It,
is for
no,
me.
no, I think it's interesting. I also think about like if you wanted to make it fun, I love a good reframe. If it's, I mean, ideally not near your mother-in-law, but maybe that's your thing, that being able to harness that of like, okay, I'm going to see how quiet I can be, but still be able to express things non-verbally. What would that look like? Is it like, do I have like a sexy smize going on? Is it like a twitch of the nose? What's the thing that expresses that I'm really into this without having to say it? Could be a fun new kink we haven't talked about. Who knows?
Could be. Could be. Okay. So which side of the HSP scale are you on? And what do
Mm,
you find really helpful to help you either, crank up, crank down, stay in the middle, stay present, not stay irritated when there's a
yeah.
weird noise happening or whatever that might get you off
No,
track?
that's a great question. So for me personally, I have two littles. So I'm typically in like hyper arousal survival energizer bunny mode
Mm,
through a lot of the early morning, evening for like witching hour bedtime vibes, and then I'll crash out.
mm.
But during the workday, I'm able to take like a long morning for exercise and that kind of thing. So I'll bebop around the whole window that we just talked about, right? But in terms of, are we talking like intimacy wise of where,
Mm.
that's want to make sure I don't want to like share all the things people are like, we didn't want that, Rachel. That I'm definitely more on like the overstimulation mode and in terms of the does acronym, I'll definitely feel that a lot in the beginning. I won't be able to tap into my system and calm and come back into my body. It'll take a minute. So I've got more responsive desire. And so from there, it might take a little bit of like wooing or courting or that kind of thing. Like, hey, you want to do a little something, something? I'll be like, maybe. Maybe I need a little assistance and I'll get there. So it depends on that. But once I'm in my headspace, I have like strong responses to emotions and stimuli and all of that. All of that's lovely. If I get overstimulated during anything, I will make sure that I'm like, hey, let's slow it down, or I need to change something here, or I need to play some music to get out of my head. And I'll just be assertive and ask for that. So that's been really nice. I didn't used to always be that way. It helps to have a really lovely partner for that. That will help support that and have understanding around it. If your partner doesn't, they're gonna be like, what are you talking about? And they're gonna gaslight the crap out of you. We don't want that. So maybe inform them like, hey, here's this episode. You might want to listen to this. But if that ever becomes too much and I'm like, I can't. I literally cannot do any more at all. I'm like touched out, especially with having littles. Maybe I'm touched out. I'm sure there's a lot of moms listening and they're like, I cannot imagine doing anything. Cool. Maybe it's just like holding pinkies next to each other in bed for a minute. Cool. We're still touching, but I'm a little touched out. So maybe it's just like
We're
put the
breathing
pinky
next
and
to each other.
we're just gonna breathe and do some deep breathing and breathe and figure it out. And then maybe I'll be like, okay, I'm good now. And then we can go for round two. So it depends on what's going on. But I think the assertiveness piece without being aggressive, and we don't want to be passive aggressive. We want to be mindful of the communication we're having. Tie this back to whomever is listening, that if you don't have great communication with somebody, please work on that first before we're getting to sexy time, because there's a lot of verbal and nonverbal communication that happens within intimacy. So, I mean, I'm curious for you, are there certain things that stick out that you're like, love
Hmm.
this, don't love this, this is when I need to be assertive? What comes to mind?
Well, when you were talking, I was thinking, I think we've already kind of solved for this
Mm,
because, well, I don't have littles anymore. Mine are teens. One's about to be 18, so he's gone with
wow,
his girlfriend almost all the time.
fair.
And the other one does his own thing. So there's lots of space for us at this point. And like, fast forward 10 or 15 years, you're going to be here too.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
I'm assuming yours are super little. Anyway, it doesn't
They
matter.
are.
Yeah. I remember that phase. You're like, sex, what was that? They made these things, but I don't know what it is anymore. Um, for me, I, like I had mentioned, I'm in perimenopause, so I'm
Mhm.
very aware of how my body is changing.
Right.
And for me, I hit a wall about like 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I have a
Mm.
lot of work clients that are really late calls. So I'll have to like push, 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 push till about 8:30 at
Ooh,
night. And then I'm like, I'm fucking done. And
yes.
I go to bed. There
You just
will
crash.
never be sex at night ever in my house,
Mm-mm.
ever. Because I would be like a corpse. You just, it wouldn't be fun for you.
No.
So what we found is early in the morning, or my
Mm-hmm.
husband is a night owl. He's the complete opposite of me. So he'll go to bed at like 2 or 3 in the morning. He loves the
Wow.
night space. He like, I thrive when everybody's asleep and I can do whatever I want. So he's like,
That is nice.
yeah, he's a mechanical engineer, so he's designing robot things and he's like listening to music
Okay.
and listening to podcasts and living his best life. And last night he was like, I applied for 17 jobs. I was like, and this was 3 in the morning when he came to bed, and I said, Hi, how are you doing? So that might be a space where he's not fully
Mm-hmm.
ready for bed, and I've slept about 7 hours. So I'm like, hey.
This could be
But
a good time.
but he is definitely neurospicy. And so what we found for him that works for me great too, is when
Mm-hmm.
he knows it's like needs to be a sex morning, you know. We
Mm-hmm.
have sex about every other day. So that's
Nice.
great. Great for me because I love sex. And so
Nice.
he'll go, he'll come to bed naked. Like that's like the sign, like totally
Uh-huh.
naked. And I usually go to bed naked. And so I wake up and I'm like, hey, and he's like, hey, and it's great. And so for him, it's that like I think the feeling the sheets on his body and like mentally
Mm.
prepared and knowing that we're going to be intimate in the morning, and me having enough sleep banked up that I'm happy and nice again. It's 6 or 7 in
That
the morning,
Yes.
yeah. And then it's like wonderful and beautiful and it unfolds. And we
Mm.
occasionally have middle of the day sex, but it's pretty much almost always morning. But
I
it's
love it.
been a few years of us
Beautiful.
like trying to work this out and figure out what works for us. And I think with both of us being a bit, neurospicy, we've found this specific time in this specific way works pretty
Yes.
well.
No, I love that you share that, because I also think about anybody that is in a similar stage of life as you guys, is that I think about the hormone cycles,
Yeah.
right? That women have what, 28-ish day cycles, and it's a whole different phases, and it's a whole thing. I'm not an expert in that. But I
Mm-hmm.
know for men that they've got testosterone, there's a 24-hour clock.
Mm-hmm.
Morning is a solid time for an
Morning is
erection,
solid. It is. Yes.
literally.
Morning boners are the best.
Yes, because they're the most ready to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, well done. You biohacked the whole system
I
for you.
have, and I do remember when I had kids your age, and we were having sex. I remember we would kind of do like a middle of the night thing sometimes, like almost like you
Mhm.
set your alarm and you're like it's 2 a.m. and then you get to go back to sleep and you're all like yummy and warm and
Oh,
orgasmed out for the next 4 hours or so, and
right.
then you have to get up and be a parent. But
Oh, that thing.
I don't know. I don't know how everybody else does it.
No, but that's actually something interesting as well, is that there's some people I've talked to of where after orgasm that for women specifically, that some people just totally tap out and go to sleep and have the best sleep ever. Love that for you guys. There's some people that they are overstimulated after that and they have to
Yeah.
have time to like decompress and unwind and then go to sleep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think evolutionarily, don't quote me on this because it's been like 10 years since college, but with the things that I remember was that the evolution wise, men were going around and being able to spread sea wherever and just pass out, and that was it. That their biological job was done. Interesting. And then for women, our job was to go around and collect all the seed and wherever we possibly could to have competition of the sperm of which one was the most likely to come and get the egg and fertilize. So
We're like,
maybe,
that was good, and I didn't get enough orgasms. Let's go
right, we
find
need more.
Johnny in the next tent. We need four.
So, I mean, that makes sense of like why some of us are more ready to either get more or you're more
Yeah,
activated. So I find that fascinating. I took like an evolution of desire course in undergrad. I was like, this is so cool.
it is really cool. And I know like my personal experiences, and because I have a really high sex drive and I can orgasm a gazillion times, if
Oh,
I
nice.
have one, I'm like, oh, that was like a cute little appetizer, At
Yeah.
15, I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. Like 25, I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm never stopping. And
Wow.
then, by 35 or 50 or something, like I'm like, oh my God, I can't
I
move.
might be tired.
So I think too, like maybe the intensity level of the sex could make you want to pass out at the end, when
Mm,
you're just so exhausted. Like the other
yeah.
day, I was like, I can't walk. Like my legs are shaking so badly.
You had to tap out. That's
Like I was
fair.
on top. There were a lot of orgasms. I'm like, I can't walk for the
We
next
can't
10
do anymore.
minutes.
Just like roll me off to the other
Just gonna
side.
take a
I'm
nap for a
done.
minute.
So then, oh, now I want to have you talk to somebody that's like a pillow princess
Yeah,
that just kind of lays there and has the things happen to her. What does that happen? Oh, now I just
that's
want to
nice
do like the
too.
research.
Yeah,
But that'd be interesting to see what happens. Do you need to tap out after being a pillow princess, or are you ready for 50,000 more?
it depends on how many orgasms you have, right?
Mm.
I don't
So
know.
cute.
This is like the episode where Jen tells her entire sex life, but we swap like every time, like who's on top. We've been doing this new side thing that
Mm.
is fucking awesome because like, okay, imagine this is your guy, right? Like
Mhm.
maybe these are his legs. Okay. So
Yeah.
he's laying, side laying, and then like
Uh-huh.
here's the dick, right?
Uh-huh.
You can like scoot your butt up to there and put him
Uh-huh.
inside you. And your
Uh-huh.
legs can go open, and your clit is right there, and your labia is
Mm.
open. And you can put your knees up to your chest. You can put them in the air like a cheerleader. You can do whatever you want. I move around a
Sounds
lot because I
fun.
like all the different sensation inside of me. So sometimes I'll put my legs together and then try to make it tighter. And then
Yeah.
like a pike. And then you're back to cheerleader pose or you're like a ball.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome. I can
That's
have the
so
most
fun.
orgasms this way. And yeah, and he
That's
can
so
still
fun.
he can still move all around. He can do the circle thing, and I'm like, what is happening? Yeah,
That's amazing.
hot
You have
tip.
your own personal rabbit.
I
Well
do.
done.
I do. So if anyone hasn't tried that particular move, it's actually really easy because you're the pillow princess. They're doing some work, but they're laying on their side. It's like no, no one's
It's not
having to work
horrible.
too hard. No one's on top. No one's
Yeah.
sweating. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty
Huh.
great.
If it's not a thing somewhere, you should coin it and patent it. But I'm sure someone's done it somewhere.
It's in the Kama Sutra page somewhere. I'm not sure where. Although those all look like really difficult poses.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to warm up for that first. Your
Definitely.
stretching sessions. Oh,
Oh
there
my
you
God.
go.
Can you
Full
imagine?
circle. Go do a stretching session. You're like, all right, I'm gonna go pop over into a hotel room. Oh, I love it.
Yes. Oh my God. Okay. So we haven't talked at all. I guess we did talk about system regulation for intimacy because we talked about that hyper and the hypo, and we didn't relate
Mhm.
it to the nervous system, but that's really what it is. Do you have more that you want to talk
Okay.
about nervous system regulation?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, I think about it like a lot of somatic stuff that can be helpful of if you need to calm your system that, oh, if I find it, I will send you the link for it for all the people listening to go and purchase the guide. But
Mm,
there's like a nervous system regulation guide
okay.
that a buddy of mine was like, you have to read this. And so there's different body things you can do for yourself, not in a sexy way, in a nervous system way,
Yeah.
for fight or flight, freeze, um, come on, functional freeze, and something else, leaving my brain. But four different main pathways of how your body might be responding. And then there's a whole list
Mm.
of different things you can do for your body, like butterfly taps of where you cross your arms and tap, because it's bilateral stimulation that is helping to calm your system.
I'm like, where
Yep.
else can
So
I do this?
literally everywhere. There's a whole thing about tapping. If
Interesting.
you ever pop over to YouTube and do tapping for anxiety, tapping for insomnia. There's a
No.
whole cute little guided person of like, tap here and say nice things about yourself. And
Oh.
it's so nice. I love tapping. But there's butterfly taps. There's, if you've ever had somebody say to like push against the wall and really brace and push in, that can help when you're in fight or flight mode because you're
No.
getting that like aggression out into the wall in
Okay.
a safe way. What else can you do? There's a whole bunch of things. Deep breathing. You can do some like gentle swaying, like
Hmm.
it's called a seaweed sway
I
if you're
like
just
that.
and
Oh,
forward.
my back feels like my spine's like,
Right?
mhm.
It feels so nice. But I'm really impressed with it that can be different ways to do that. They have tips on how to do a like regulation routine. Do you wake up in a certain way? What's morning, midday, evening, right before bed? I'm so impressed. I should be an affiliate and get a whole bunch of money because I talk about it all the time. But I'm impressed with that with the nervous system. That can be great before sexy time as well. Of like, how do I need to calm my system if I'm in hyperarousal? Or what are
Mhm.
some things I can do if I'm in that functional freeze, I kind of tapped out that I can do for my body rather than just doom scrolling on my phone.
That is brilliant.
That's what I play with. Hmm.
One thing I'm noticing that's working for me is literally getting my ass outside and walking. I do live in a
Yeah,
subdivision and I work from home, so that's probably
that
easier
helps.
for me than a lot of, if you're living out in the country, maybe that's hard, or in the city, I'm not sure. But I'm noticing it takes a full mile before my nervous system gets out of the fight or flight. I'll be
Well,
spinning and
yeah.
thinking about all the things that are stressing me out until about the mile. And by then I'm sweating. I'm
Yeah,
sweating and I'm like, oh, there's birds and trees and like
there's
there's a
other things
duck.
going on.
Oh, I'm alive and I'm here. Okay. And then I'm like, okay, I need another mile because
Yeah,
now I'm like finally present.
now I'm
But
here.
I just
Yeah.
think and I'm sure that that is a lot of like, what were you calling this?
The
Tapping.
bilateral stimulation
Because
is using
that's,
both sides.
you're moving
Yep.
left and right when you're, oh God, moving is so good, isn't it? I've also been
Yeah.
in different programs where we've done like 30-second dance party, where they'll put fun
Yeah.
music on and just dance and you feel like an idiot, but you can't
It's
sit down and
so
not feel
nice.
different, right?
Yes, I feel that way anytime there's like a 2000s hip hop playlist. Oh,
Yes.
forget it. I'm in it.
I was at Pilates today and we were listening to Eminem of 2000s and it was like
Okay.
the edited version of the Eminem era. It's
Oh,
so
half of it's
funny.
aged out.
I was trying
Nice.
not to laugh, but I was like, this is also great. I feel like I'm in college again.
Oh, that's a nice throwback. That's
It
fun.
was, it was, it was, it
Okay.
was.
No,
Oh
I
my
love
gosh.
that.
This has been super helpful. I hope
Good.
those of you listening have found this helpful and it wasn't just self-help for Jen and Jen's sex life. But But I think a lot of us are walking around and we're just hyper or we're hypo and we're trying to figure out like how do we relate to our partners, especially in the bedroom.
Yes.
And I think that we had a lot of like tips and tools today to help equip people to get back into that neutrality where you
Yes.
can enjoy not only yourself, but maybe other people.
Yeah. Oh, this was fun. Anytime you want to chat this stuff, I'm here for it.
Okay, Rachel, if people are listening and they're like, I need a therapist, I need a coach, is there a program or a newsletter or like what do you want people to do
There's
next?
many things.
Okay,
So the therapy realm, I can work with people in Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, and Vermont for funsies.
awesome. And
Um,
it is on the website. There's a whole list of states if you
yeah,
didn't catch that. I'll
yep,
give you
yep.
the link.
So all of that is with Sage Counseling and Wellness. And then the coaching thing is just Rachel Dornianu, my name.com, nice and easy. So there can be like a little bit of life coaching or business coaching or sex coaching. I love to do speaking events, workshops, all the things. I love to chat if you can't tell. But with that, there's definitely all sorts of email lists for an absurd amount of freebies of like an intro to sex therapy. What the heck do you do when you talk to one? Are you trying to actually have sex with the sex therapist? No, that's a different job. But I have connections if you need somebody. But past that, just some helpful tips and tricks on like how to even set up a consultation call with somebody that is a sex therapist, how to know to find a good one. I think all of that's really, really helpful. And I can send you links for the freebies and all the
Cool.
fun things there. And then past that, I'm working very slowly on building up a Substack. I've got an email list, but I've noticed Substack's pretty cool.
Hmm.
So I think I'm going to start playing with that too. So TBD on that.
Perfect. Well, thank you for coming on today. I know we have 500 million other things that we want to talk about at some point, so
Mhm.
I'm sure I'll have you
Mhm.
back on and we'll talk
Yes,
about some
please.
other interesting subject. But thank you for being on, and we'll see you next
Sure.
time.
Sounds awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Open Bedroom Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, go ahead and give us a like and click subscribe below and stay up to date on all the new episodes that we release. If you have a topic that you'd really like more information on, leave us a comment below and we'll see what we can do. Feel free to share this podcast with all of your friends and especially your partners. This is a great way to open up some amazing conversations. We'll see you next week.